So a quick update, you're looking at the right rear, and I thought the left rear was bad, but the right rear is even worse. What you see is the results of another blown wheel cylinder, which you've got right there. It is everywhere. At first I thought it might be gear oil from the rear end coming out, but I found a couple of places where I can pull it down, and it was that nice clear brake fluid look that you're supposed to have in the lines. And when I pulled the boots off, I found that it was that they had definitely blown. You could see where the insides of the boots were completely filled with brake oil, and as it's just everywhere. It is just a horrible situation. But in pulling us off, once I got it up in the air, I discovered another little thing. People who know how to weld and shouldn't. You'll notice that the U-bolts that hold the springs on have been cut and then a piece put in and welded back together. Just a very interesting little thing here that shouldn't be. Fortunately, the springs sit on top of the axle, so they do not take as much load as if it was reversed. But I will have to source those out and replace those. I do not trust that at all. But, you know, hey, people do what they got to do, and they actually didn't do too bad of a job welding. It's so dirty in here right now, you can't really see it. If you were here in person, you'd see it. It's a pretty solid little weld there on both sides. Haven't looked at the back side yet, but if they did this good job on the front side, I'm sure they did the back side also. So this is going to slow me down a bit because I've got a whole lot of brake fluid to clean up, but just wanted to give you an update of where we were. So I thought I'd address a question that might come up if anybody gets a hold of these videos on the brakes that I'm doing. I showed on the last video that the brake cylinder had completely blown and there was just brake fluid everywhere. The question might come up, how do I know it's brake fluid and not the gear oil from the axle? Well, I determined that a couple of different ways. First off was the pattern. On the backing plate, the pattern was a very distinct triangle. There was brake fluid on both sides of the cylinder, but the majority of it seemed to be on the left side as I was facing it. It was so thick on that side that you could see right where the boot was. There was a drip coming down, and it had built up so thick that I could chip it off in 1/4 inch pieces. I mean, it was really, really thick there. Another way I've determined it is once I got everything apart and I pulled the boot off, the boot was actually full. It had a pool in it, and that gave me a really good sample to look at and see what it was like, and it was very clear like brake fluid, very, very thin like brake fluid. Another thing, when I pulled the axle out, the axle itself was dry. Now, dry is a relative term. It did have oil on it, it had grease on it, whatever you want to call it, and you know, I probably should have grabbed it with a rag or something, but it was so dry I could grab it with my hand and just wipe my hand off real quick on a shop towel, and there was no real big issue with it. Now, when I did pull the axle out, there was oil on the axle. But it was only on the splines on the end, and as that started to drip down, it gave me another really clear sample of fluid so I could compare it to the other stuff that I had found in the system. And coming off of that, off the splines, it was the thickness of gear oil, what I'd expect from gear oil, and it also had that yellowish tinge of gear oil, unlike what I had found up to this point, which was very clear. So putting all those together, the triangular pattern, the fact that I could compare known gear oil off the end of the axle and the axle was dry compared to the fluids that I found inside and all over everything, including in the boots being very clear and extremely viscous, I put it together that it's most likely all brake fluid. Is it possible that there's another issue and that I've got gear oil in there? Absolutely. Of course it's possible. but only time will tell on that one. This is kind of a budget project for me, so I'm not going to go and replace every possible thing. Once this van's up and I'm making money with it, and I've got a little more money that I can put back into it, and I'm actually using the business to fund the business as opposed to what I do now as a separate business to fund this, then I can start putting a little more into it. And I probably won't. What I'll probably do is just clean it up, make it look really nice. Once I'm on top of this business and I'm making money, I'll find another use for this van, or I'll sell it. I might just park it somewhere and use it as storage. I'm not going to be able to lock it properly. I'm going to have to put padlocks on all the doors because all the locks don't work, and I'm going to have equipment and supplies in there, and not the best way to have it. So it'll probably be turned into some sort of storage, or I'll sell it off and get something modern and better. Right now, this is just a budget project to get my business running. So if you have any questions about anything else on why I feel it's brake oil and not gear oil, go ahead, send me a question in the comments, and we'll figure all this out.